Okay, what is goody YouTube gang? It's your guy, Omar Tao here. It'll come on screen in a second. Let me set up. Alexa, set a 50-minute timer.
50 minutes, starting now.
All right, it's up, so let me see. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I don't even know how it looks. Hopefully it looks good. So yeah, I was gonna wait until 11:45 to go live, but I just didn't feel like waiting. So instead, I decided to go now. Me like doing a simple charcoal drawing, I'm gonna be here for like 50 minutes or so. And I don't intend to finish, or if I do finish, then I finish. But I don't intend to be like trying to get like super done or anything like that. Just kind of here, have a little bit of fun, live stream this process, talk about whatever. Gonna be charcoal. All right. Okay, let's just draw it. So yeah, this is a face. It's kind of something that I sketched in my sketchbook last night, like right before I went to bed, because I had planned to do this this live stream already, and I was like, okay, let me just prepare something a little bit so I don't feel like I'm just making something completely arbitrary. So yeah. When it comes to how I learned to draw, it's really a lot of it is just self-taught, like YouTube and stuff like that. I am in art school, and I feel like I've learned to apply certain skills, but most of my time spent drawing was spent on me doing like my own learning and stuff like that. And it's been like that for however long I've been drawing. draw? I draw because it's like the only thing I've been doing for years now. And, well, it's not the only thing, of course, but it's what I'm really good at. And I've been consistent on it for years, you know? Just something I kind of just ended up sticking to at a young age and just kept going with it. And getting better at it right now. Of course, there have been, for me, phases where I might not have been as consistent as I could have been or should have been, or where, like, you know, I kind of let things slip. But then again, like, my artistic ability, I feel like never really, like, went away, even if, like, let's say I went however long without drawing. And I feel like it's just a part of my identity and who I am as, I guess, being an artist per se. What's crazy is I could be on here being like one of those NPCs. I could be on TikTok right now, acting like Miles Morales. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. But that's not what I'm gonna do. But I have no idea what I'm doing, to be honest. I'm just drawing. I'm not really using like much of a reference. Let me see. Let me think. I think this will work better as a paint. Some things maybe you just have to paint. I don't know. Let me think. Let me see. Because maybe I could just do something different. I'm not sure. Then again, I'm only like, what, 10 minutes into this? That's the thing. When it comes to art, you have to be very patient, you know? You can be putting colors or putting doodles on the sketchbook, whatever you're doing, and you know, you can't just be looking at 5 minutes and being like, oh man, this looks like crap, you know? Wait 10 minutes, wait 30 minutes, wait an hour, right? Past couple of days I've been doing like these things where I just draw like stills from Pinterest, and I basically time how long I'm drawing it, and I just see like, you know, okay, I'm 30 minutes in, it looks like this, I'm 50 minutes in, it looks like this, I'm an hour in, it looks like this, 45 minutes, whatever. I try not to have them be like over like an hour, like per se, because they're just kind of like studies and whatnot. But to have them be something that is light and relatively quick, because like, you know, an hour is not that much of your time when you think about it. It's a commitment, that's for sure, but it's not like, you know, going to work and like working an 8-hour shift or something like that. It's pretty simple. You know, I feel like doing something else. Maybe I'll switch it up. I still do charcoal drawings. I'm just gonna like do my iPad, not my iPad, but my sketchbook and whatnot. I might just keep this for like another idea or something like that. I have 2 paintings that are sitting on the side that I haven't finished because I guess like maybe I'm not inspired to put something on there. I don't know what or how, but maybe that's the case. Like I'm looking for something instead of just doing something, and that's how you do everything. Like, or that's how you should be doing a lot of things. You should just do it instead of waiting for something. I guess, you could say, which is a lot better. Let me switch my setup here. Room tour. Okay. Alright. Changing it up. So, for those that might not know, this isn't like very important or whatever, but I just want to talk about it a little bit. Like, I sit on the floor, so I sleep on the floor as well, but not like the bare hardwood floor or whatever. I have like stuff that I lay down and like sleep on and whatnot. But why do I do that? It's better for. Oh my gosh, man! I need to regulate my breathing so I can stop yawning like that. But it's really good for things like mobility, especially sitting on the floor. Think of all of like the different positions you might switch yourself into when you're sitting on the floor. Like, let's say maybe you're at a picnic or something like that, and you guys are, of course, sitting on a blanket, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to realize that or whether you realize it or not, you're going to be moving and shuffling around in a bunch of different positions. So, and a lot of like Asian cultures and whatnot, they sit on the floor and they have like furniture on the floor and stuff like that. They sit on like these like cushions, and they have like, futons and kind of like makeshift couches or whatever the case may be, right? Furniture to accommodate for the floor, or they won't even have any like standard furniture whatsoever. And so, with that, I'm gonna switch to my left hand. And so, by them doing that, or whether they realize it or not, they are increasing their longevity and the health of their joints and their muscles, right? Because even in old age, they're able to squat down and get up from the ground, basically. They have more mobility and whatnot, and people don't really consider this when living like a more naturalistic type of lifestyle. They might think of like the food that they eat or the exercises that they do, but they don't think about how they might live their day-to-day lives. So for me, I see no benefit whatsoever in sitting in like a standard 90-degree chair. I guess for the sake of comfortability, so maybe if your body's comfortable, you could probably focus a bit more. But it's like it's just something that takes getting used to. You just have to get used to sitting and sleeping on the floor. You can get used to it. Like, I remember I first started sleeping on the floor because my bed was like messed up. My mattress was messed up, and I didn't want to get another mattress. So at the time, I was just like, let me just sleep on the floor. and then I started seeing like videos and stuff like that about like how sleeping on the floor is good for you. You know, this guy he's able to increase his mobility and stuff like that, and he's like getting all these great benefits, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm thinking about it, and I'm just like, that makes actually a lot of sense. Like, of course, it would make sense to, I guess, like live low on the ground, so that way you just are have better mobility. I mean, just think of like, let's say you sleep on the floor and you wake up. You what is that? You might do like a burpee basically when you get up off the ground. You might have to do like a sit up and a squat to get off the ground, stuff like that. And so it's just ways for your body to move more throughout the day without having to like go and do a yoga class or go and do extra cardio sessions and stuff like that, right? You just kind of like live a much more active lifestyle without even trying. So that's why you should get rid of your bed, throw away your standard table, get a small little table floor, desk floor, floor desk, whatever, and boom, voila. And mobility gains will come as well. My mobility has improved. Of course, I can't say my mobility has improved drastically or whatever, but that mobility and stuff like that, that stuff takes years. It takes a lot of time, and I'm willing just to take that time. I'm not in a rush to get the splits or anything like that. Yeah. All right. So here, I'm just doing some like light stuff. I'm gonna be using my left hand. A couple videos ago, I was using my left hand for like, what was that, 4 videos or something like that, and I was surprised by how good I was, basically, like, or I say that, but I was surprised by the fact that I wasn't complete dog trash doo-doo. Like, I have really, what's considered really bad handwriting. Well, it's always been bad handwriting, to be honest. Everybody has called it bad handwriting. And, but I have pretty good drawing skills. And of course, if I can barely even use my left hand to like pick up a fork, then what makes you think my left hand is going to be good at drawing or writing, right? Especially writing, but I guess the skill of drawing is like so ingrained, maybe, into my system that it can be transferred to the non-dominant hand. So yeah, I'm not ambidextrous, I'm not left-handed. Some people say that I write like I'm left-handed, but like I'm using my right hand when I write, and my my writing is way worse with my left hand than my right hand. Like if you think I forgot what you call it. My handwriting is trash with my right hand, sorry. And you're gonna think it's complete dookie with my non-dominant hand. Like as if someone who is mentally challenged wrote this. Alright, these do look funny. Maybe it's because I'm a bit nervous. That's why I'm kind of like drawing weird. I guess because like even if like nobody's currently watching, it's kind of still like a bit of anxiety built up. And then I'm using my left hand, so I can just use that as an excuse. I can just use that as an oh my gosh. Let me think. How do I want to try and draw today? Maybe I'll just do some freehand stuff. I don't have to use Pinterest reference right now. I can just I remember when I was drawing like back in middle school. That's when I first started drawing, and I have my just kind of looked like whatever anime I was into at the time. So for some time, it looked like Hunter x Hunter, and I really got into JoJo's, and for a good 2 years, maybe my art style just looked like JoJo's, and so I draw like these Chad-looking characters with like these crazy jawlines and stuff like that, like JoJo characters, which is like pretty fun. There's a lot of things in my life that I've like started and you know never like I started, maybe made some good progress, and then I just stopped it, or whatever the case may be, or I felt compelled to stop, or whatever it was, right? And you know, I feel like that might have happened with a lot of things in my life, but art is like the one thing that I haven't stopped. I've always just felt compelled to keep going, even if like again I have those moments where I might not be creating as consistently as I could have been before. I'll still create, but I might not be like everyday type thing, whatever. Um, yeah, I remember being a beast at least when I first started drawing, because you have that beginner's feel, I guess, and it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta draw every day, every single day, all day, and I did, and I think it's very good to draw every day. Like you should try, like when it comes to learning a new skill, you try and practice it every day as much as you can, because that's what's going to allow for a lot of progress, better progress, a lot more consistency. For me, I feel like I have to do things on a day-to-day basis in order to be consistent with it. Because it just kind of helps to like make it a part of my life instead of like an intervention thing, where it's like, let's say I'm taking drawing classes, right, and I can only go to classes like maybe 3 times out of the week or something like that, and now drawing is kind of like more of like a intervention, rather than like something that I do every single day. Like we brush our teeth every day, we take showers every day. Hopefully, we're doing those things every day, and these things are kind of almost ingrained into like who we are. So being able to take certain habits and certain lifestyle changes and make them a part of yourself is going to allow for much better growth, I would say. Much better growth. Like when I was doing the daily calisthenics, and I still work out, I don't work out every single day, or at least I don't do resistance training every single day. It's like every other day now. But like when I was doing it then, it was like in my system to like have to work out no matter what. Even when like my mom or my parents or somebody was like, why not just take a break? Who's saying you have to upload every day? And it's just like me holding it to myself, because that's what I set myself to do, and I wanted to go as long as I guess like I felt like I needed to, or I wanted to do. And of course it came to an end. I don't intend on posting like majority workout content. If I do post any like content when it comes to exercise and whatnot, then I will. But I don't intend to make this channel like just specifically for exercise content and stuff like that. And I feel like I also don't want to just make this channel kind of like an exclusive art channel as well. Like I want to make it a me channel, a who I am channel, a channel where it's just me expressing myself to you guys, right, or to the audience. And I just think that's, I don't know, more genuine than trying to do what's called like niching down, where it's like you get a specific niche, you get an audience, and then you predicate your product basically to that audience, right? Um, but of course, I'm probably gonna have more of a focus on art and creativity and things like that, but to also just like maybe have some lifestyle things when it comes to like maybe advice and self improvement and meditation, or if I get more consistent at meditation, meditation is definitely one thing I want to incorporate into my life a lot more frequently on a frequent basis. I kind of do it every so often, but I want to do it every day, at least 5 minutes, at least, because that's not that hard. 5 minutes a day is not that hard, but yeah, in regards to the channel, I definitely want to. Well, I just want to see where it goes, because even when I did the daily calisthenics thing, it wasn't like I'm gonna do 243 days of daily calisthenics and see. Like I wasn't thinking of that. I was just like, well, let's see how long this goes. Let's see, what I can do with this, you know. And I was able to build up a lot, and I'm grateful for that. Like that I can do that, and that shows that like, even if you might think like exercise or workout content is overplayed, it's already too oversaturated or whatever the case may be, it shows that there's still an audience willing to tune in and to watch what you have, and it was a steadily growing audience. So that means I can apply that with just about like anything I want with this channel, as long as I stay consistent. One thing about me doing daily calisthenics was that I was incredibly consistent, every day basically. And I might miss, some videos might not go out every day because they might upload late or whatever, because I might have had some connectivity issues, but I was still recording myself and editing my videos every day and stuff like that, and trying to get them to upload every day. And I was able to do that for 243 days straight consecutively. So it shows that I definitely have the ability to be consistent. I just need to find ways to apply that with other things in my life as well. Because even if like, let's not even think about daily calisthenics, right? I was also, and also if you don't know this, my channel or whatever, daily calisthenics was this thing that I did where I just basically uploaded every day and had all my workouts, and every single workout was like, resistance training. When it came to bodyweight resistance training, like push-ups, pull-ups, dips, squats, lunges, some like cardio calisthenics, like exercises and stuff like that. And yeah, but I just need to transfer that skill. I need to learn to transfer that skill over into other aspects of my life, just so that way I can see like similar growth at the same type of growth as well. Because whether you realize it or not, there's so many things that we do that also bleed into other things. It's like the bleed over effect, right? Like let's say you're maybe lousy at school or something like that. Like you don't do such a great job at school, or at least you don't even try, and that can kind of bleed into other aspects of your life, right? But then again, it depends what it is, right? What it is you're willing to be consistent with, because I'd say that I definitely have that problem of like, I guess not transferring certain, skills over to other aspects of my life. Like I can definitely be more consistent with a lot of other things, whilst I can of course, well, just try and find whatever else in my life that I can just be consistent. I know I say consistent a gazillion times, but to just improve myself basically. And it's always great to talk and sit down with family members and close friends so they can tell you what what flaws you might have or what you need to improve on. Because when you're in your own head, you might see yourself in such a negative light that you feel like it's hopeless, or you might have a really bad ego or something like that, and you don't see any problems or whatever the case may be. So it's always great to ask close friends and family members to kind of expose the truth to you, and hopefully they're being honest, and hopefully they're not being too critical or something like that, to where they're basically just making fun of you, but just a way for them to allow them to express how they feel about you in a way that allows for just for your own improvement, right? And once we get to a certain age, a certain maturity level, we should do that. We should reach out to our parents and ask them hey, how can I improve, or is there anything with me that is a problem, right? And so I guess consistency, I guess at least carrying the ability of consistency in other aspects of my life is lacking. I guess persistence per se, right? But yeah, and that's just even if maybe you have that type of talk with your family and you don't understand what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm not this or that. Don't get so defensive, and just dwell on it, think about it for a little bit. Really just try and see okay, so they see me this way, and then what are examples that you can kind of lead back into your own life that you've done that kind of prove their point right, yeah. And again, some people, depending on who, that's why you should surround yourself with good people, right? Even if you go to your friends, some people will just say stuff just to be saying stuff, or they might even start projecting. They might start projecting you don't do this, you like this, you like that, but they're really just talking about themselves the entire time. So it's you got to be careful that you have sane people. If you have insane parents or insane friends, first off, you're probably insane, and second off, you should find new people to kind of self-evaluate you, right? It's just very important to get a viewpoint of yourself from others. It's hard to see ourselves. We can have a mirror, we can have a phone, we take pictures of ourselves, but it's hard to see ourselves as who we actually are without the, I guess, eyes and ears of others. I guess let me move on to the next page. I'm just drawing random stuff. I'm not drawing anything unified or whatever. Usually I'd like to draw figures and faces and stuff like that, so I guess that's something I'm comfortable with doing, or I've always been doing that. Yeah, let me not think about it right now. Let me just try and draw. Yeah, drawing can also be a meditative thing for me. There's a lot of things that can be considered meditation. It's not just sitting there and closing your eyes and breathe in, breathe out. It's just you can do so many things, playing sports or an activity where you're focused on the present moment then and there is what can allow for that meditative state to be attained, right? And then you can kind of transfer that skill over into other aspects, or just your entire life in general, and to always exist in that present moment, which is the essence of meditation, right? To kind of exist in the more present, to be more conscious, right, of your current surroundings and stuff like that, because our mind is living in the past and trying to predict the future, and so that can lead to a lot of turmoil and just emotions and stuff like that. So it's very good for us to find things in our life that allow for allow for us to be more present, right? When you're like shooting a basketball, you're just have complete focus on you, the hoop, and the ball, right? Just complete, absolute focus on trying to get that ball into the basket, right, or to the hoop. And the same thing can be said when it comes to exercise, like, you're just focusing on, mind muscle connection with the pull ups and the push ups and stuff like that. And drawing, like, you're focused on just creating what is currently at the forefront of your thoughts. Like, you're drawing, you're putting stuff on paper, and I don't know, maybe I don't know how to describe it properly, but sometimes, sometimes you don't have to. But as long as you kind of get that noise, that chatter that is always there, that we call our thoughts, right? That we call these things our thoughts, but honestly, they're really distracting us and they push us every which way and they make us do things that we didn't want to do and stuff like that, right? We tend to associate our thoughts with our personality or our identity, actually, and by doing that, it kind of it's not proper. It's not a proper way to identify ourselves because our thoughts don't really exist in the material world or physical world whatsoever, and they don't focus on what is presently current in the now, right? So I was reading, this book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and he talks about that where our thoughts, like, our identity, right? There's a philosopher, I don't know who the guy's name was, I don't remember, but he was saying, I think, therefore I am, right? But like, we can have all these crazy negative thoughts that we wouldn't really identify ourselves with, right? You could be driving on the road and like, you're just thinking like, I'm gonna hit that grandma. What if I just swerved over and hit that grandma? Like, is that really a part of your identity? No, and those are called intrusive thoughts, right? And sometimes a lot of our thoughts can just come from literally what seems like nowhere, and they can lead to nothing, like, having music playing through your head, right? Like, you just have a song playing through your head. Those are your thoughts, right? Having some random TikTok sound play throughout your head over and over, that's like that's also part of your thoughts, but you wouldn't like contribute that to your personality, right? So, and that's kind of like the same thing when it comes to identity. So like, would you really identify with, I don't know, those random chatter, that's in our brain? So by getting into a meditative state, by focusing on things that allow us to be more present, we can kind of course, gain the benefit of quieting our mind, right? Quieting our mind that is kind of at the same time not very beneficial, right? Think of all of like the negative thoughts and emotions we have, right? And we tend to not actively cultivate what comes into our mind, whether that be with the people that we hang around, the words that we say, the music that we listen to, the environment that we put ourselves in, that can basically lead to us being worse off mentally, right? There's so many things that we do that lead to our mind being filled with just complete nonsense. Just complete nonsense that doesn't have to be there. Hey man, I know I said charcoal drawings. I'm gonna use a brush pen because I feel like it. Who cares? Whatever. I can do whatever I want. But we let complete nonsense just into our mind, and we don't realize it sometimes. Of course, like, hearing stuff that somebody said on the side of the street. That's whatever. That's fine, right? But just letting anything in your mind, and also letting things sway and push you and stuff like that, right? So I work at a movie theater, and I was in a stall. I was taking a dookie. I was not stealing time. I was taking a dookie, and I guess it's like these teenagers or something like that, and they're like, oh, nah, bruh, she do this, bruh, that finna make me mad, bruh. Nah, she finna make me mad as hell, bruh. And like, I'm listening to it, well, cause like they're loud, and it's just like, man, that is such an immature way of thinking. Like to allow yourself to let the actions of somebody else take over your own mental faculties and control you, basically. Like you just admitted to having your mind controlled and enslaved based upon someone else's actions that they haven't even committed yet, right? Like they haven't even done anything. You're already telling yourself that like you're going to be upset and mad over what somebody's going to do. And that's enslavement, that's not freedom at all. That's really just a form of enslavement and voluntarily enslavement as well, since you are talking about that openly. And the things, oh, her ear is so tiny, oh my gosh. And the thing is like, you know, hearing that, like, it just made me realize, like, yeah, I would hear that all the time when it came to even grown men and with other jobs that I would work at. And just people like openly admitting to, whether they realize it or not, to just how little self control or emotional stability that they have to just let things crack off, uh, you know. And it's very unfortunate that like we are like that, And I feel like, my black brothers and sisters more so, or even more so like this, because I guess there isn't like knowledge of how to de-escalate situations properly within like the I'd say African American community specifically, um, because it's usually like African, black Americans that run into these issues of just like being violent or being irrational and stuff like that, and letting their emotions control them, and being angry and aggressive and rude and mean and whatever. And you don't really see no like Caribbeans do this. You don't really see no Africans do this and stuff like that. And it's usually just the USA grown, uh, you know, black people that just end up in these situations that they didn't have to be in. Didn't have to go off like that. Didn't have to cause a ruckus. They didn't have to cause a scene and stuff like that. But sometimes it feels like almost as if people are waiting for something to happen so they can act a fool, so they can act in a certain way, right? And you just have to kind of realize, like, that's kind of, isn't it like embarrassing? Isn't it like immature? Like, why do you want to put on an act? Why do you want to put on a show? Why do you want to gain that attention, right? And it's not positive attention, Nobody is really like enjoying that. You're not helping yourself or anybody. Oh man, this face looks weird, but that's okay. Yeah. You just gotta view yourself outside of yourself. You can't just let things sway you every which way. You have to be able to control yourself. And you control yourself kind of just by like, again, going back into the present moment and viewing almost as if you're watching yourself, right? Almost as if you watch like who you are, as if like you're some like outside person watching a movie of yourself, right? Instead of it being as if you being you, right? Especially when it comes to emotions. Emotions are such a physical thing. We feel them in our body when we get mad. We feel, what's called, like, people will say, like, oh, my blood is boiling, right? We feel ourselves become heated, basically. We feel ourselves, we can feel anger, we can feel that. We can feel that, and it's good to step away from it and allow our more conscious, more rational thinking to take over, instead of basically being a slave to our own emotion, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what that is. That's what's happening. We become a slave to the actions of others, and that makes us become irrational and whatnot. and just so many decisions are based on emotions and feeling, and that can lead to bad decisions that we might regret in the future. So it's good to just try and gain more consciousness, whether that just be through meditative work, journaling, um, just like certain practices that just allow us to take a step back. Just even breathing, when you get upset, mad, angry, sad, whatever, just breathe. Just like sit there, just breathe. Just like 5 seconds in, hold for like 2, 3 seconds, and then 5 seconds out, slowly control, and just kind of like think like, okay, what is this coming from? Do I have to be like this? Is there any benefit to me being upset or mad or angry right now, right? And the funny thing is like it can be hard to do that because our mind, with our mind in which we identify ourselves with, can sometimes work against us. And what's going to happen is like we get mad at a certain person or situation, and we tend to dwell on it. And by dwelling on it, it kind of fuels the fire. It fans the flames of our emotions. So it's like we'll think of all these other scenarios that might happen. We think of like things that we want to say back and just stuff like that. And it's just like not helping anybody to just to be like that. And to kind of like stew in it, when you stew it, it doesn't make it any better. You just get more angry, more pissed, more mad. And so it's good to again like view yourself outside of yourself, and like like you're in a movie or something like that, and you're the main character, and you're watching yourself get mad at something that you don't have to do. Be that critical audience that is trying to watch and critique your every move that you're making, so therefore you can feel like you're making the right moves, right? And not just like moving along, getting drifted away side by side by any little thing that comes your way that can set your boat, that can rock your boat, because at the end of the day, you make the conscious decision, or no, you don't make the conscious decision, but you make the decision, basically, unconsciously, most of the time, to allow somebody else to rock your boat, to rustle your feathers, as I might say, as some might say, right? And again, that's not a good thing to do. It's something like grown men and women, go through this, right? And it's like, it's just really bad because, like, of course, if they have kids, it's going to go on to their children, and their children are just going to do the same exact thing, and so on and so forth until someone breaks the cycle, someone kind of like decides to break the cycle, right? And the same thing can be applied to trauma. People will spread down trauma and certain behaviors and habits that end up negatively affecting the next generation. And, trauma isn't just something that's like, I guess, like psychological. It's like something that is in the body, basically. It's like a scar. It's literally like scar tissue. This looks so funny. It's literally like scar tissue, basically. And so for that to end up being there, being a stain, like a stain on your soul, it's just going to end up spreading, and it's going to end up dirtying up the innocent, youthful mind of like a newborn child or a developing young kid who just like, they want to learn from their parents, but their parents are hurt, and that, there's a saying, hurt people, right? But then, then they end up just calling that tough love or whatever the case may be, or discipline, and it just ends up causing more problems, especially when it comes to like beating and harassment and basically just bullying and negative talk and stuff like that, parents talking to their kids saying that like, oh, you ain't gonna be shit, or you just like your daddy, you just like you act just like your daddy, stuff like that, talking negative about the other parent, even if they're in the home or not in the home, just so much disrespect and so much hatred and so much vile energy that obviously that kid is going to end up carrying on, and it's up to them. Oh, Alexa, stop. It's up to them to see if they're going to basically spread that, to the next generation, or be aware enough to know that, okay, what was done to me was honestly wrong and not the best thing to do. And before I have children or start a family, I should fix these things, right? But that's my little timer that I had set. Hopefully, I still have time left. Yeah, I'm gonna end the live stream there. If you're watching, thank you for watching. If you're watching this later after it's went up, say what's up. If you think I have a cute butt, let me know, whatever. But yeah, peace out. Peace out.